So Memphis could be your new home. Well, before you move to Memphis, you need to know a little bit about Memphis and the surrounding area. Hi, I'm Jeff Jones with MidSouth.Homes at eXp Realty, and I want to tell you what it's like to live in Memphis. So this channel, Living in Memphis, is all about that. It's everything you need to know about Memphis, the surrounding area, and for you to get the latest information, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notified as soon as new content is available to help you know about living in Memphis. Memphis is where we call it, it's in the Mid-South, which is part of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, East Arkansas, also includes a little bit of the Boot Heel of Missouri and southwestern Kentucky. Anyway, this is Living in Memphis, and let's talk about what it means to live in Memphis and the pros and cons so that you can make a good decision about living in Memphis. As I mentioned, I'm Jeff Jones. I was born in Memphis and spent my childhood and early adult years in Memphis until my wife and I moved away to Fort Worth, Texas, for me to go to graduate school when we were about 25 years old. But until then, Memphis was home. I've been back in the area since 2014 after living away for 25 years for school, or not for school, for work. I moved for school, but I stayed away because of jobs until we moved back in 2014, except for a year in 1999 to 2000. Anyway, I want to talk to you about what I think are the pros and cons of Memphis. Memphis gets a bum rap in the national media, but we've got some great things. And the first pro that I want to talk to you about is no state income tax. That's right. Tennessee doesn't have a state income tax. Several states in the country do, but Tennessee is one of those that doesn't have a state income tax. Arkansas does, and Mississippi does. So if you want to move and live in the Memphis area and you want to avoid state income tax, Memphis, the Tennessee, inside Tennessee, the state line area there, that's where you want to consider living because of state tax. However, Mississippi, I live in Mississippi now in Olive Branch. The state governor got a law passed early in 2023 that removed the top tier of income tax. It was either 5% or 6%. So the people at the lowest end dropped out of paying income tax in Mississippi, and everybody paid a little less. The plan is that continue to do that over the next few years and eliminate the Mississippi state income tax. It's not eliminated yet, so that is a pro of Memphis, that there's no state income tax. Another pro of Memphis is going to be transportation. Now, you might hear a lot about Memphis traffic, and that is a little bit of a problem, but transportation as a whole, where Memphis is located, well, let me just show you this on the map. So here we are in the map with Memphis, and you can see that Memphis is in the southwest corner of Tennessee. You can see all these interstate systems that we have running through here. We have Interstate 40, which runs from Nashville, from the East Coast. It runs through Memphis, takes this loop around Memphis, and comes and goes through West Memphis, Arkansas, over to Little Rock and to the West Coast. We also have I-55 that runs from Jackson, Mississippi, actually New Orleans, from Jackson, Mississippi up through Memphis and continues going north into up to St. Louis. We have the Mississippi River here. You can see this is one of the most navigable rivers that's available. We have transportation on that. There is cargo traffic that goes through there, as well as the cargo traffic that happens on the interstates. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that I-69 is this area right in here. And the plan for I-69 is it's supposed to connect Mexico to Canada, and it comes through Memphis and goes around, and it's what we call the second loop around Memphis. We already have the loop of I-40 and 240 that comes around, and then we have the second loop of 269 that comes through here. So those are our interstates, and the Mississippi River, and we also have rail traffic with a couple of railroads that come through here that converge back out. And then we have the Memphis International Airport that you can see this right here. Well, with the airport right here, there is a lot more commercial traffic than there is people traffic on it. There are some non-stops to Orlando, Las Vegas, other places, and a lot of flights that go from here to Atlanta or from here to Dallas and connect Delta and connect with American going other places. So, and Sprint and Frontier at this time have flights out of Memphis. So transportation is one of those things because we have access to water, rail, air, and wheels with the roads and the interstate system that comes through here. Another one of the pros for Memphis is going to be the suburbs. You don't have to live in Memphis proper. You don't have to live within the city limits of Memphis to live in the Memphis area. You have access to live in Germantown, Collierville, Lakeland, Bartlett, Arlington, which let me move this out of the way so we can see Arlington. So you have Arlington. We also have in DeSoto County in Northwest Mississippi, South Haven, Horn Lake, Walls, Hernando, Olive Branch. The rest of these areas, Pleasant Hill, Lewisburg, they're not cities. They're just areas that have names to them. There's also an area in Memphis, Cordova, that's in this area. That's county. It's not incorporated. And you see a few others in here. But the suburbs are a great place. If you don't want to live in the city limits of Memphis, you can still live in Shelby County or the surrounding counties around Shelby County, or in Mississippi, DeSoto County, Marshall County, Tate County, and still have access to the amenities that are in Memphis without having to live in Memphis. So the suburbs are what I consider to be a pro for Memphis. Another pro is going to be the churches. If you're involved in a church, there is likely going to be a church somewhere in the Memphis metropolitan area that's going to fit your needs, the style of worship, whether it's Baptist, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, whatever that may be. There's going to be a congregation for you in the Memphis area somewhere. Memphis is the 28th, I believe, the 28th largest city in the United States. It was actually founded in 1819 by some names that you may not know outside of this area, but one of those was John Overton. The Overton Park Memphis Zoo is named after John Overton. There's a high school named after John Overton. There is also one of the founders was James Winchester. One of the major roads that cuts through Memphis is Winchester. Let me see if we can find it here on the map and show you Winchester. Let's see here. Winchester. I know about where it's supposed to be. Yep, here we are. Cuts through the airport area. This street right here is Winchester. And it goes, actually, that's the wrong one. Let's see, here's Winchester. Winchester cuts through the airport and it connects east to the west and keeps going and going and going. Named after James Winchester, who was one of our founders. And another one of our founders is Andrew Jackson. I believe he was the 7th president of the United States. He was, let's see if we can go through here. There is one of the streets named after Jackson for Jackson Avenue. And it is this Highway 14 that goes through here. This is Jackson Avenue. And when it gets north, it becomes Austin P. Boulevard, but Jackson Avenue. So those were the founders in 1819. They actually founded, and Andrew Jackson was a surveyor. He laid out the Memphis City streets based on how they did that stuff at the time. Let's zoom in here a little bit, and you're able to see, all these squares in here, how we laid out all these streets. So you can see some are named after some of the presidents that we had back at the time. Anyway, just a little bit of history about Memphis for you to know that. Again, I said it's the 28th largest city in the United States. that lends itself to having a lot of churches. Another one of the pros for Memphis is going to be the weather. Now, we're going to talk about that as a con too in just a moment. But what I think about the weather being a pro is that we have mild winters. It doesn't get significantly cold here for any length of time. Most of the time, some years a little different than others, but the weather is typically mild. When I'm recording this, it's getting close to Thanksgiving and Christmas is a few weeks away. There are times at Christmas that I'm wearing shorts and sandals with a t-shirt or a pullover, and there are other times when I'm bundled up. There could be a little bit of snow or some ice on the ground at Christmas time. Most of the time, that is not the case. And most of the time around New Year's, we have the air conditioner going again. So Memphis weather is typically mild, has mild winters, but weather is also going to be one of the cons when we talk about cons in just a moment. Two other pros that I want to talk about, and one of those is entertainment. Memphis is a great area for entertainment. We have the FedEx Forum where the Memphis Grizzlies play and the Memphis Tigers basketball plays. We also have concerts and other events at the Forum. Downtown near the Forum is the Bass Pro Shops Pyramid that used to be an attraction area, and it still is, but it's actually home to Bass Pro Shop and the lodge that they have there. Another one of the entertainment pieces is going to be the AutoZone Park, which is where the Memphis Redbirds play. They are a farm team for the St. Louis Cardinals. And this year, for the first time, we have Deck the Diamond, which is a Christmas lights and ice skating display that happens actually at AutoZone Park. That's going to be happening now through Christmas or through December 31st. Take advantage of that if you're in the area. And if you're thinking about making a move to Memphis, go ahead and come now during Christmas so you can partake in all the different Christmas festivities that we have going on here. Another entertainment piece I've already mentioned is the Memphis Zoo at Overton Park. There's going to be a light display at the zoo that you could take advantage of. It's going to be a great time. Graceland is all decked out at Christmas time. Graceland is another one of those entertainment places. And you might think, what's Graceland? Well, you should know that's Elvis Presley's home. It's what he bought when he became famous. And it's still a tourist attraction today. Memphis has the National Civil Rights Museum. We have a Metal Museum, Memphis in May, which is a big festival with a barbecue competition. We have other sporting activities that are here. I've already mentioned the Grizzlies. There's also the Memphis Hustle, which is a basketball team that's affiliated with the Memphis Grizzlies. We have the Memphis 901 FC outdoor soccer that plays at the AutoZone Park. We also have the Memphis Americans indoor soccer that plays in South Haven, Mississippi at the Landers Center. And I mentioned too, when I was talking about the FedEx Forum, the Memphis Tigers. That is the University of Memphis Tigers, basketball, football, baseball, soccer. So there's a lot of entertainment to do in Memphis, sports, other aspects of entertainment, concerts, all kinds of stuff. Memphis always has something going on. We have the Orpheum Theater. We have surrounding areas that have plays, musicals, things that happen there. But the entertainment possibilities, I think, are a pro for Memphis. And the final pro that I'm going to talk about is going to be barbecue. You can't talk about Memphis and not talk about Memphis barbecue. Now, Memphis in May is a big international barbecue competition that happens. And one of those who won that competition has a barbecue company that's not in Memphis, but it's called Memphis Barbecue. It's in Horn Lake, Mississippi, in DeSoto County, just across the state line. Memphis Barbecue, Melissa Cookston is a multiple champion in barbecue competitions. She has a great restaurant like I said, in Horn Lake, just south of Memphis, called Memphis Barbecue. It's one of those places people love to go to. Now, another place, and I hate to admit this because I am a native Memphian, is the Rendezvous. The Rendezvous is what you hear about a lot on Food Network or travel, and I've never been to the Rendezvous. For whatever reason, my wife and I have just never been. Growing up or as adults or anything, never been. I probably need to go check out the Rendezvous. Now, we do like some of the foods that we get at places that the Rendezvous serves, barbecue nachos and things. We've just never actually been to the restaurant. My favorite barbecue in Memphis is Leonard's Barbecue. When I grew up, there was a Leonard's just around the corner from our house, and this was back in the 1970s, and we didn't eat out nearly as often, but we typically picked up a 6-pack. That's some buns and some meat, slaw, sauce, and some beans from Leonard's, and had that probably about once a month. At least that's kind of what I remember. But it's my favorite barbecue. I love the beans. I love the barbecue. I love the sauce. They're down to only one location, and they recently relocated that to Cordova, Tennessee, just outside of Germantown. But I love some Leonard's Barbecue. My next favorite barbecue is one and only. There's one in South Haven near where I live. There's a couple in Memphis that are there. It's a really good sweet sauce. You're also going to see some great other barbecue places here: Tops Barbecue, Little Pig's Barbecue, Corky's Barbecue. You may have heard of that. They ship all over the country. But Memphis, you're going to find great barbecue. There's almost as many barbecue joints around as I believe there are churches. But those are the pros that I have for living in Memphis, that we have mild winters, great access to transportation, lots of entertainment, great suburb area, places that we can live if you don't want to live inside Memphis, churches, barbecue, and no state income tax. Now, let's talk about some cons for Memphis. Now, before I get that, remember, if you're thinking about making a move to Memphis and living in Memphis or the surrounding area, reach out to me, midsouth.homes. I'm a licensed real estate agent in Mississippi and Tennessee with eXp Realty, and either I or my network of agents will be glad to help you find your next home in the Memphis area. If you have a home to sell, whether it's in the Memphis area or not, I have a network of agents all across the country that help you sell that home wherever you are and help you find that home wherever you are if it happens to not be in Memphis. We'd love to have you come to Memphis. And if you're checking Memphis out, let me know, and I might even treat you to some barbecue. Anyway, let's talk about the cons of Memphis. Mild winters, weather is one of the pros. Weather as a whole probably is going to be a con, because when we do get cold, it gets cold. Memphis doesn't get snow. I was talking to a friend of mine just this week that had moved from the north, and she said whenever they got snow, they didn't want anybody walking on it. They didn't want cars driving on it because they kept snow shovels right by the door. So as soon as they went out, they could basically just push it off because it was powder. We don't get very much powder snow here. We get wet snow packs. We're not prepared for scraping it off. We don't have blades to put on our lawnmowers or on our trucks or vehicles. We don't have all of the sanding salt trucks you have in Chicago and the places up north that deal with this stuff. We just don't deal with it very well. So we typically end up with ice, which is not easy to drive on, if it's possible even at all. So when it's cold, it can get cold for a significant amount of time. And if there's precipitation, it's going to be ice. Damages power lines, makes people without power for days or weeks at a time. It can just be a difficult thing. And in the summers, it's hot. You can just expect July and August, maybe mid-June to maybe mid-September, it's going to be hot. We're talking heat indexes of 110 or higher because of our humidity. And all of that heat and all that humidity makes it prime location for mosquitoes to live. And if the mosquitoes here are so bad that if you have a small dog, it could be picked up and flown off with the mosquitoes that we have here. I'm just joking. They're not that big, but you would think that they are. Some of us get it worse than others. My wife and I can be outside as dusk starts in the summertime, and she will end up with 10 or 15 or 20 bites, and I probably don't even have one. I guess that's because I'm not sweet enough or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but mosquitoes are bad because of that weather, and we can have severe weather as well. Memphis, this area will get tornadoes coming through. We can have significant hail, heavy rains, high winds. We don't get hurricanes. We don't get typhoons. but we do have the potential for tornadoes to come through here. And we've actually had some significant tornadoes come through this area in the last 5 years. A couple of different times they've come through here. So weather is one of those cons. I already mentioned mosquitoes. To me, that's going to be another con, or those insects and stuff. And because our winters are so mild, it tends to not kill them all off unless we have a pretty significant freeze that comes. Okay, another con is going to be property taxes and sales taxes. The sales taxes in Memphis are almost 10%. Property taxes are a little bit high, but again, there's no state income tax. It's almost a balance because if you go across the state line south into Mississippi, your property taxes are going to be a little lower than they are in Shelby County or in Tennessee, and your sales tax is going to be a little bit lower than it's going to be in Tennessee. But you trade that off because you pay a state income tax. Just so you know, those are the differences. So that con is going to be property taxes and your sales tax. Another con is crime. Memphis is typically ranks high in a national list of crime and serious crime that happens. I heard a news report last night. They were interviewing a local police officer, and he said, "We're just tired of all of the crime. We need people to step up and make a difference, to walk away from crime when it's happening, not to participate in it. We need to get a handle on it." And our Memphis city leaders just don't seem to have a handle on the crime in the area. However, there are areas, the people for the most part in Memphis are good, and that crime does spill over into the surrounding areas. People move to DeSoto County. They're going to, in Mississippi, they're going to move to Fayette County, east of Memphis, Tipton County, north of Memphis, and Shelby County. They're going to move there, but that crime spills over into those areas. You can't run from it. You can just do your best to manage it and do your best to take care of what you have, your people and your property and your possessions. But crime is one of those. And racial tensions seem to be high in Memphis from time to time. You can see all this on the national news. Just Google any of that stuff. It's been that way most of my life growing up here in Memphis and being a part of that. It's just, I hate that it's that way. I wish that there was a way that we could all choose to get along and appreciate each other. The perspective I've come from is that everybody is creating God's image, and we need to treat everybody that way. It's not my responsibility to pass judgment on people or to have an instant value of somebody's life as soon as I meet them based on the color of their skin or their economic status or any of those things. To accept and to get along with and to appreciate and to demonstrate compassion and dignity for anybody around me, regardless of who they are. Don't treat anybody better than anybody else, and don't treat anybody worse than anybody else. Treat everybody with dignity and respect and recognizing they're made in God's image. That's the perspective I come from. Yours may be different, but just know that there is some racial tensions that are in the Memphis area. And finally, another con is the Memphis schools. Up until 2011, there were two school districts in Shelby County, Memphis School District and the Shelby County Schools. It was either everything inside the Memphis city limits and everything outside of the city limits. In 2011, that began to merge into one. In 2013, the Memphis and Shelby County schools merged into one school district in the whole county. And then in 2014, 6 of the other cities in Shelby County created their own school districts. So now we have the Shelby County school districts, plus we have Arlington School District. Let me just pull it up here on the screen, let you see it. We have the Arlington Community Schools, Bartlett City Schools, Germantown Schools, Lakeland Schools, Millington, Collierville are the 6. Then the Shelby County Schools. There's also many private schools in the area, and another school district that typically tends to work with those schools that are more greatly at risk to help them become better and stronger schools. So you have some options. I mentioned those suburbs. You also have options if you move south for DeSoto County schools. And that's all one school district, whether it's in South Haven, Olive Branch, Horn Lake, uh, Hernando, Walls, it doesn't matter. It's all DeSoto County schools in the areas. So those are our options. And with talking about the cons for Memphis schools, we can see here greatschools.org. It's a good place for you to check out if you're considering schools and considering a particular part of the city of Memphis to live in. There are 299 elementary schools. 16 of those rank greater than 5, according to greatschools.org. There are 161 middle schools. 3 of them rank greater than 5. 123 high schools. 3 of them rank greater than 5. That's a total of 583 schools in the Shelby County school system, and 22 of them rank greater than 5, meaning 561 of those rank 5 or less. That's not a great grade for school. Niche.com puts the public schools at a C+. You can see crime and safety at a C-, housing at a C+, nightlife at a B+, diversity, it's very diverse in the area, and a B- as far as being good for families. Check out niche.com for Memphis area. But those are the cons that we have. Weather extremes, mosquitoes, property and sales taxes, crime, racial tensions, and schools would be what I would consider to be the cons for Memphis. Now, a little bit more about Memphis that you can see in niche.com. Memphis has a population of just over 600,000. It's in Shelby County, and Shelby County has a population of almost 1 million that live outside of that. The most recent monthly stats I have for Memphis homes are October of 2023. You can see the median sales price for homes in Shelby County is $259,000. That means half of the homes sold more than that and half sold less than that. We had just under 800 homes sold in the area, and our year-over-year home appreciation has decreased by 4.3%. That just gives you an idea of what the homes are worth in Memphis. If you're looking for a home, to purchase a home, what you might be spending when it comes to buying a home in the Memphis area. If you have more questions about living in Memphis, text me, email me. Here's my contact information here. You can email, text, either way, reach out on our website. There are also other videos that you can watch that are going to be, there's the map video of Memphis, looking around and seeing where it relates to everybody else. And you'll also be seeing on this channel other areas in the Memphis area to live: Germantown, Collierville, South Haven, Olive Branch, DeSoto County, other areas in the area that may not be inside Memphis, but it'll give you an idea of where you can live there. My hope is to make sure that you are confident in your home buying or selling process and all the little micro decisions that you have to make. You need to know about the area, and you need to know about buying or selling a home. I'm here to help tell you about the area, and my network of agents are here to help you navigate buying and selling your home. Have a blessed day, and I look forward to having you join me here living in Memphis.